Dominique Wilkins.
Hey, this is Sean Kemp.
This is Gary Payton.
Hey, this is Pau Gasol.
NBA fans, what's up? This is Vince Carter here.
Hey, what's up? This is Matt Barnes. If you're an old school NBA fan like I am, make sure you check out the Basketball Time Machine with my man Sean David.
Hello, good day, one. Welcome back to the Basketball Time Machine. I'm your host, Sean David. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk some old school NBA basketball. In today's episode, I want to discuss with you guys why old school fans like me have a hard time accepting LeBron James as the GOAT. But before we get into that, I want to remind you guys that I have the Sean Kemp signed jersey competition. So I'm giving away one signed Sean Kemp jersey. This one right here. All you have to do is to add me on Instagram. It's instagram.com/SeanDavidNBA. And yeah, I will pick one person who will get the jersey, and you have one more week to go. So don't waste any time. Do it right now. And I would say enough said. Let's dive right into today's episode.
Does LeBron have to do something, or can he do something where you would go, now I would look at him as the best player?
No, I think he certainly, just off the cuff, he's certainly the top 5 of all time. But playing against him and MJ, I think for me it's MJ all day long.
I come from a Jordan era. I am biased, and I'm going to be a bias to the day I passed away. Michael Jordan will be my goal. I always loved you.
When people start comparing him with Jordan, then that's not a fair comparison. Because, Jordan is far more superior player.
Michael is the greatest player ever. Michael's been injured one time. He never has to sit out. He never asked me anything, but only he asked for respect and money.
So again, how am I going to approach this video? Well, I narrowed it down to 7 categories, so let's start with the first one. Coming in at number 1 is super teams, aka LeBron teaming up with other superstars. Now the first point already is a very difficult one. If you are a fan of the 1980s and 1990s, then you know that we also had teams that had more than one all-star, or let's say one superstar on their team. I mean, if we talk about the 80s Lakers or the Celtics, they had at least one all-star on their team, but still it was a little bit different than what we know today. With LeBron James, it is always the same. He's talking to his buddies, who happen to be MVPs or at least multiple all-stars, and whoops, suddenly they play on the same team as LeBron. In Miami, he had Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. In the second round with the Cleveland Cavaliers, he had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. And now with the Los Angeles Lakers, he has Anthony Davis and Russell Westbrook. And don't get me wrong, Kevin Durant is basically doing the same thing, but it's hard to give a player respect if they always pick the easy way. I mean, why can't LeBron James do it the hard way and win a championship with just one other all-star on his team? Just like Hakeem Olajuwon, for example, who had no all-star on his team, or Michael Jordan, who just had one all-star on his team, David Robinson, who had only one all-star on his team, etc. I mean, we just saw that it's possible. And just to be clear, there are players in today's NBA that have respect. So it's not that I'm only hating on every player. There are players that I have a lot of respect and love for. For example, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who's my favorite player in today's NBA. He, to me, is an old-school player in the NBA today. He is 100% what today's NBA should be like.
It's easy to go somewhere and go and win a championship with somebody else. It's easy. I could go, I don't want to put anybody in the spot, but I could go to a super team and, just do my part and win a championship, still win. But this is the hard way to do it, and this is the way.
And the second reason is LeBron James copying Michael Jordan. Okay, this one right here might just be my own opinion, but shouldn't you be yourself and leave your own footprints as the GOAT? So that's the question. Of course, you can be influenced by another player, but in my opinion, you should not copy a player. Now let's take a look where LeBron James is copying MJ. Obviously, we got the jersey number, and yes, LeBron said it in countless interviews, he wears that number because of Michael Jordan. Next, we have the chalk toss. Back in Michael Jordan's earlier career, he had some rituals that were pretty known to the public. One was wearing his North Carolina shorts in every single game, and the other one was tossing chalk in the air right before the game started. And again, LeBron James copied that from Michael Jordan. Next, we have the cigars. As a Michael Jordan fan, obviously we have numerous moments in our memories where Michael Jordan smoked his victory cigars. And again, this is something that LeBron James took over from Michael Jordan. And last but not least, Space Jam 2. I recently made a full video dedicated to LeBron James doing Space Jam 2, so I won't say too much about this one right here. But again, LeBron James tried to copy exactly what Michael Jordan did 25 years prior. In my personal opinion, I just believe that you have to be yourself and you shouldn't copy the player that is actually in the competition with you about being the greatest of all time. And the next reason that I have on my list is the era LeBron James is playing in. Now again, this right here might just be my personal opinion, but when I think about the best era in NBA basketball, I would say it was the 1980s and 1990s. The perfect mix, or let's say the perfect balance of skill and toughness. When LeBron James was drafted in 2003, the NBA was slowly but surely changing, and not for the better. In the 80s and 90s, you had many teams that were dangerous and highly competitive. Many teams had a legit chance of winning an NBA championship. For example, in the 1980s, we had the Celtics, the Lakers, the 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks, the Detroit Pistons, the Houston Rockets, the Cleveland Cavaliers, the late 1980s Bulls, who were all title contenders for numerous years. In LeBron's era, because of the super teams, you only have 3 or let's say maybe 4 teams who really stand a chance. So this is not LeBron James's fault, but the other players that are considered to be the GOAT like Michael Jordan or Kareem Abdul-Jabbar simply played in a better era. And just for the comparison's sake, let's take a look at what Michael Jordan had to go through in order to win a championship.
This is what the Jordan rules were. On the wings, we're going to push him to the elbow, and we're not going to let him drive to the baseline. Number 2, when he's on top, we're going to influence him to his left. When he got the ball in the low post, we're going to trap him from the top. Well, that's the Jordan rules, and it was that simple.
What happens when he does make it baseline?
That's when Lambeer and Mahorn would go up and knock him down to the ground.
As soon as he steps in the paint, hit him.
Chuck Daly said, this is a Jordan rule. Every time you go to the fucking basket, put him on the ground. When he comes to the basket, he ain't gonna dunk. We're gonna hit you, and you're gonna be on the ground.
Jordan is still there.
We tried to physically hurt Michael.
Jordan had no place to go. Robert.
How bad do you want it? Are you willing to be injured to score a basket?
And the Pistons want to make Jordan pay whenever he gets in the paint.
And then the referees back then didn't look to see if Michael was hurt or not. It wasn't make sure that the savior is okay. That wasn't the way it is.
And the next reason is LeBron James's final losses. Another player that LeBron James is mostly compared to is Michael Jordan. And one major point is that Michael Jordan is 6 out of 6 in the NBA Finals. And LeBron already lost 6 times, and even got swept 1 time. I personally think it's totally fine to lose in the finals, but, and here it comes, I have to repeat myself, but if you want to be the greatest of all time, and you're competing against a player who won 6 out of 6, the nod has to go to that player who's unbeaten. Also, the loss in the first round of the playoffs this year did not exactly help LeBron James.
And the celebration will begin. The Dallas Mavericks are NBA champions. The first title in franchise history.
And the next reason are the flops. This right here is a category that I covered in a recent video, but it's a major point. LeBron James is built like the perfect basketball player. He's tall, he's ripped, he looks like a Terminator in a basketball uniform. But every now and then he has those moments on the basketball court.
They've been a much more aggressive team. And a hard screen on Chandler. And they're going to call a flagrant foul.
And the last category is iconic shots - clutch shots. Again, this one right here will be a short one. But if you compare Michael Jordan to LeBron James, another thing that I miss in LeBron James' resume is that he does not have that many iconic shots that Michael Jordan has. Of course, LeBron has game winners and buzzer beaters, but it pales in comparison to Michael Jordan or even a Magic Johnson, a Reggie Miller, and many other legends. Also, LeBron James had many games in the NBA Finals where he just did not show up, and that's why his teams lost. To be the greatest of all time, you have to be there when the game is on the line and when it matters the most, just like a Larry Bird and, of course, a Michael Jordan. Alright, you guys, that was it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, click the notifications button, and a quick reminder, if you want to win a signed Shawn Kemp jersey, at me on Instagram. Alright, you guys, see you next time on the Basketball Time Machine. You all be healthy.